So check this out, Storytime. This is legit. This is good. Like, I know people tune in and tune out like, nah, I ain't fucking with that. Like, this one, you're going to enjoy. And you're going to learn something. Yeah, math, I'm going to be in Brooklyn, February 12th and February 13th. So try and send some niggas to rob me so I can show you what the fuck I do in these streets. No, I'm just joking. I'll be there on 12th and 13th. But if you send some niggas, I'm going to kill them. Like, just so you know. So if you want this chain, a casket come with this mother. No, I'm just joking. Story time, so check it out, right? This is gonna be a good story. This is gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. But check this out. So I went on Twitter today, actually not too long ago. And I kind of skirt through Twitter in between doing conference calls and working on other little things, taking my little personal time, PT, in the midst of the pandemic. So I follow this one dude from Chicago. His name is Vic Spencer. He's a rapper from Chicago. Good rapper. We had a text battle on when we used to do the text battles on Twitter back in the day, like a few years ago. So I stayed in tool with him. And he mentioned something today. And the tweet was, it's some dudes that can rap really good, but off the mic and like basically like in real life, they horrible. And normally I try and stay out of other rappers or just people's shit in general, unless it's like my fans. But I really try and, or people that I know personally or something like that, I kind of stay to myself because, you know, people tend to get rubbed the wrong way sometimes. So I just keep my comments to myself. But this one I felt like, I know he wasn't talking about me, but I know that's how a lot of people feel about me. And how they feel about folks of a certain status. Like, never meet your heroes. Like, you should never meet your heroes because them niggas ain't shit. Like, they good at their job, but man, you never like Gordon Ramsay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's an amazing chef and his food is great, but he's an asshole. Like, fuck that dude, right? And I've experienced this myself with people who are at the high, and I'm talking about the highest levels of their craft. And at their craft, they're the highest. They're the world champion. Behind the scenes, like once the initial kind of like what do you call it? Like courteousness kind of wears thin, you know, they just be in the raw with it, you know, and more power to them. So I responded with, and this wasn't at him, but it was just part of the program. I want for everybody to understand what's happening. So I responded, you know, give me a extremely talented piece of shit over a whack ass sweetheart any day of the week. And I mean that. Let me tell you why. And then there was a couple like responses from folks who were like, man, that sounds weird. You know, you can't be like that. You got to be worried about this. You got to worry about that. And it's like, you know what? This is too much for Twitter. For Twitter, it's not going to come off right. I need to just do an IG live real quick and really explain this to folks. So not only musicians and aspiring craftsmen and craftswomen can get an understanding of the process, but also just for life in general. Whether you're not even interested in this rap shit or music or craft or any profession, you just cool being a district manager at wherever you work, right? But it's about success. And what does success mean? And what does success do to people and how people get to where they are? I've been in the music business professionally since I was 19 years old. I went straight from high school into the music business. I didn't go to college because I had a record deal, right? So I've been doing this professionally since I was like 18, 19 years old, for real. Like getting paid to rap, right? With expectations and demands on me as an artist to do shit and perform and to move the needle and to add value and bring money back into the situation. Since I was 18, 19. I started rapping for real, and I say for real, when I made up in my mind that I wasn't going to college in high school. I said, I'm not going to college. I'm doing this rap shit or nothing. I'm going to go work at the post office. That was me and my man Bishop G. Shout out to Bishop G. That was our plan. He'll tell you if I'm lying. I was like, man, fuck this rap shit. We fuck this school shit. We finna rap. We finna be rappers. And threw it all away. Like, fuck school. Fuck, my dad, the only thing he wanted me to do was graduate. That's all he asked, was to graduate from high school. He didn't ask me for nothing else. He's like, as long as you graduate, that's all I care about. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna graduate. And I may have told a story before when I dropped out for a little bit and Chill made me go back. Because he said I couldn't, if I didn't go to school, I couldn't go to the studio. So I started seriously rapping when I was like maybe 16. Was rapping before then, but not like I'm finna become a rapper, right? You feel me? Pay attention. I'm not finna I'm gonna just do this as a side hustle. I'm gonna do it because I like it, or it's the cool shit to do. But when I turned like 16, I was like, no, I'm finna do this shit. And it all came about when one of my homies, I never used to write to a beat. I just used to write. So when I started writing to a beat, and we actually were able to lay down what we were doing, like the raps we were making, one of the homies, and it might have been Bishop, might have been one of the other homies, maybe Doe. Shout out to Doughboy. When we played back the little song we had recorded in the basement, he listened to it and was like, man, you sound like you do this for real. Right? It wasn't like, everybody rap and they get on the record, they hear their own voice and they're like, oh yeah. He was like, nah, nigga, like you sound like just your voice and the way you doing it, you sound like you do this shit for real. And I had to be like 16. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it. That ain't the story I want to tell. You get the rest of that in the memoirs. The story I want to tell is when I learned to be an asshole. Now, you may think that I was an asshole, and I know a lot of people think Lupe Fiasco an asshole. DJs, they've told me to my face, Angie Martinez, all type of motherfuckers who think I'm just a big piece of shit for various reasons, right? Shit that was my fault, shit that wasn't my fault. Presidents, all the whole shit. People think when I first did my first professional PR interview, you sit with the lady, she teach you, they kind of, when you at a label, they sit you down with like a PR person, and her whole job was basically to kind of feel me out, to feel out what type of artist I was going to be, and give me kind of instructions. Like she literally basic shit, like never wear white on TV, right? So it was literally sitting at the label, like never wear white on TV. Like, okay, got you. And by the end of that little session that I had with this woman, her summary was, you're going to make a lot of enemies in this business. Something to that effect. Like, you finna have it rough. That's when I first signed to Atlantic. She's like, you finna have it rough. Because I mentioned something about Miles Davis. And how I watched the documentary about Miles Davis when I was a kid. And I was like, man, Miles Davis was kind of like an asshole. And I mentioned that to her. Not knowing that Miles Davis was her friend. And the whole shit changed. We was vibing, cooling, going through the whole thing. I'm learning, taking a lesson. She, how to talk, how to walk, how to do this, how to behave when you're in front of different people. And then we casually mentioned like, I love jazz. And I was like, I love Miles Davis. The Cool is based off the Birth of the Cool. I would have called this shit the Birth of the Cool if I could. But I remember watching that documentary when I was a kid. And I was like, man, I remember Miles Davis. He was kind of like an asshole. And I said that. And she was like, oh, you going to have it rough. And she was like, that was one of my best friends. And I was like, damn, well, there's that. And the rest is history. But you would think that I learned how to be an asshole when I got in the business, right? When I made my first $1 million, when I bought my first Ferrari. No. When I got my first Grammy. No. When I sold my first 1 million records. Nah. Right? My first world tour. Nah. Sold out your first stadium. Then you like, yeah, now you could be an asshole. You could treat people like shit. Nah. The business didn't make me an asshole. My success, all of the deals that I've done, everything I've done, that didn't make me an asshole. I became an asshole freshman year of high school. Freshman year. Before I was even rapping, seriously. I was taught how to be an asshole. And here's that story. We had a drama team in high school. So basically, we had a theater that was connected to our school. Thornton Township High School is a really old school from like the 1800s or some shit. So it's a really old school. So it was built in sections. So it's the main building, which is old as fuck. Then they started to just add buildings throughout and eventually became like a big ass campus. So Thornton Township High School, if you go to it, it's like a little mini campus. We got 2 baseball fields, all kinds of shit. big ass field house, football, big ass football, indoor and outdoor football stadium type shit crazy. Underground tunnels. It's almost like a lit university. And one of the things that was built that wasn't really built at any other school around us in this way was a theater. We had a crazy ass theater, like super professional theater. That was because it was built after, the school was built in sections. It was kind of built attached to the rest of the school. So you just build this building and then just create doors to go into the rest of the school. So basically they were able to just build this theater from the ground up. We had everything. We had a fucking orchestra pit. We had like risers. We had lights in the ceiling. We had like spotlights, like real spotlights, and a whole spotlight light booth and balconies and concession areas. Like it was a full theater. And what used to happen is they would rent out the theater on weekends to like real organizations. We would have real concerts in that motherfucker, real like crazy. So this theater was a professional theater interfacing with the general public. When they would have it on the weekends, they would close the theater off from the rest of the school. So the people that was coming to see wouldn't be able to go into the school because the lockers were right there. Like you walk right in, the lockers is right there. So they would gate all that stuff off, close all the door. And basically this building became its own separate building, detached from the school. So the theater program at the school, because we had this amazing theater, the drama club and the drama part of the school was like top notch, right? So tune in. Y'all gonna love this. It's top notch. Literally, we had one of the best theater programs in the country. Definitely in the state, and I would go far as to say in the country. The level of talent, the level of the actors, the level of the crew, the professionalism of the stage hands, the design of the sets. Like we had a whole stagecraft class, right? So it was a full-on, full-swinging, big dick institution. So freshman year, I'm trying to figure out what to do. Fuck it, we in high school, let's get it. They doing like a casting call for the theater program. So I go. And what it is they would do these plays. And then these plays would go compete against other schools. So they would build a whole set. The actors would get their parts. They'd work out all the lighting cues, the sound and everything. And it'd be this full-on production like Broadway. It could be a musical, it could be whatever. But these full-on like, Broadway level production. And then they would go to different places and compete with the different schools in the area and then eventually into the state. So by the time I got to Thornton, it was transitioning from like, and Thornton's in Harvey, Illinois, so the Wild Hunteds. It was transitioning from like a diverse mixed community into some real fucked up nigga shit. So all the white people were leaving, the businesses were slowly shutting down. And just from the time that I started high school to the time I graduated, it was motherfuckers getting killed and it was crazy. Now, if you go to Harvey, it looked like Detroit. It's just a wasteland. So I'm in this kind of social transition. But at the same time, too, this suburb is becoming the hood. So we basically, by that time, a hood school. Like Thornton kind of in the hood, right? We got gangs and shit. We got shootings. We got niggas stealing shit. It's crazy. But it was still kind of nice though. Like we had driver's ed with real cars where we had our own cars that we went to and drove in at the school. Shit was lovely. Amazing experience. Love it. One of my best experiences ever. So anyway, we got this rock and theater program. They're going to compete. So much so that we were varsity, right? Like you got varsity football, varsity basketball. We have varsity theater. So you go to the lobby of the theater, it's all type of trophies, like for years, for like a decade. It's just like, this trophy, state champs for this, runner up for this. Then they had another version of the theater, which is called group interpretation, which was like more smaller and weirder. And we would kill, that team was killing. And you just go, our trophy rack could rival the football team and the basketball team and the baseball team. We had a wicked tennis team too, but I think we did. But you come see our trophy rack, our shit beaming. Medals, trophies, the whole shit. Like, yo, these niggas, this shit crazy. Plaques on the wall, the whole shit. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to come do this theater shit. Go in there. And the job is to be a stagehand. So basically, they partner me with another person This is where I got my name Lupe from. I had my partner in theater, his name was Lupe. Lupe Fonseca, look him up. Big old Colombian motherfucker. That's where I got my name from. Because then I was still Lil Lou. And I was like, that's Lupe. I'm going to be Lupe because I want to be Mexican. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be Lupe. So that's how I even got my name Lupe, was working in this theater. So that's the job. You move in a set piece. You get assigned a piece. You move it here. Then you go back. And the ill shit was our theater program was so legit. They used to grade you for the play, the actors, but then they would also grade you for the tech. So how good the lights were, how dope the sound was, and how dope the crew was. The stagehands. So the stagehands were mean. Like, we was mean. Imagine, like, give us 3 minutes, we gonna build a house. And that's basically what we was doing. We on a timer. We so coordinated. We so, like, just in pocket and detail. This a well-oiled machine. Like, we putting this shit together. We getting time like the Olympics, like Olympic trials. Go. And everybody got their piece. And when you break down, so we got to turn around and tear it down too. It was fucking wicked. How cold we was. Like, running plays. Cold. Like, pro level cold shit. But there was a dark side. Also, mind you, we got paid. So all of that theater that was done on the weekends, we was the crew. So we would get paid. Now, I'm speeding up through it, a little bit, foreshadowing a little bit, but that's how legit it was, that the students would get paid, right? So imagine that you go to school, your little side school, after school program, you getting paid. You getting a check, right? You getting little twos and fews, little $100 here and there. We was getting like maybe minimum wage, maybe a little bit above, maybe a little bit below. But you getting a check in high school for working a couple hours. Like, man, this shit's sweet. So we getting paid. It's girls. You get the run of the school. We literally had the keys to the school, right? Because we was operating in the school. We couldn't go too far into the school when it was closed, but we had the keys to the school. Nigga, we had couches in the ceiling. Like the crews that came before in the year set it up. You could smoke up there. You could do all kinds of shit. We had the run of the place. Imagine you got these teenagers got to run of this whole building and you getting paid, nigga. And you in the suburbs, ain't shit to do. So now you got something to do. It was sweet, super sweet. But it was a dark side. Dark side. The dark side was that the dude who ran theater was an asshole. My God. An asshole. Imagine Mr. T. No, not Mr. T. Imagine Hulk Hogan, but like half as tall, maybe a little thicker. Same long hair, like a little rock star. Drove a Harley Davidson. Smoked. Like everything you think about a 1980s football coach, right? But not really, but just rides a Harley. Just imagine a little white dude with a chip on his shoulder, Napoleon complex, drives a Harley, working at school. Cussing motherfuckers out. Screaming down your motherfucking neck like a drill sergeant, right? Like Navy SEALs, right? And he asked you to come, right? Like you volunteered for the shit. You like, yeah, I come in there and move a couple set pieces. And then as soon as you get in there, he like, hey, how you guys doing? What the fuck is you doing, motherfucker? Like, he in your face. Right? On your head. You ain't even did. You're not even a bad kid. This ain't like after school detention and no shit like that, right? Asshole. The minorest, smallest detail, he exploding. Right? He teach you how to do something. Now go do it. You fucking up because you the first time he on your head. Bang, bang, on your head. Nigga, why didn't I tell you do that motherfucking shit right, man? What the fuck is wrong with you, right? And for dressing you down in front of people, motherfuckers ready to burst in tears. It don't matter. Bitches, niggas, don't matter. Like, he in your head. On your heels. I'm like, nigga, I'm 15, 14. Nigga, like, what the fuck is going on here? The bar that he set was so high, there was no way. So motherfuckers would leave. Like, Bishop left. I remember Bishop left. I like, let's go see about this theater shit. Bishop was like, man, fuck this. I ain't fuck with that little white motherfucker, right? And at the same time, too, he ran stagecraft was an actual class that you could take as an elective. So we had electronics, we had, sports, whatever the fuck. But you could take stagecraft. And it was basically like wood shop, but we had a whole separate wood shop shit too. So stagecraft was different. You learn how to run the theater, you learn how to build the sets. So they had a whole wood shop, a whole bunch of shit, right? Tools, all kinds of shit. We had radios and all type of crazy shit, right? So we had a lot invested, into this program. So dude was, and he had a class that he taught, like an actual legit class, in addition to this theater program that he ran, in addition to doing the work, renting out the theater to outside organizations and institutions and shit, right? But dude was an asshole, man. Like straight up and down, pure asshole. And he wouldn't just blow up at us. He'd blow up at the staff, the administration, or the teachers. It was like anybody can get it in this motherfucker. Any of y'all can get it. So that's me, young, fresh, Wasalu, straight up out of junior high, getting treated like a motherfucking baby. Then walk into this motherfucking just no man's land, right? With this wild ass drill sergeant white dude in there just cutting motherfuckers down. And that's when I became an asshole. That's when I learned how to be an asshole. Because this dude who niggas didn't fuck with, the staff hated him, the school hated him, he eventually wound up getting fired. Off some shit, they caught him up on some shit outside the school. Like he was at a nude beach, some dumb shit. They caught up with him outside the school, eventually got him fired. But the reason he was bulletproof, because we went to state every single fucking year. Right? Every single year we went to state. No question. Every single year we were the absolute unadulterated, almost choked up on some tears shit, for real, the best crew in the fucking state. I'm choking up for real on some real shit. The best. And we had like one of the poorest programs because we was still in the hood. We was the hood school. Niggas is Latin kings and gangbangers and all this other old shit. The nerds, the motherfuckers in the school who niggas would pick on and shit. And when it came time, we had more W's than the basketball team, the football team combined. It's funny thinking about it. Pardon me while I gather myself so I don't burst into tears like a bitch on here. He would cry too. That's the other part. This little tough motherfucker. You catch him off in the corner sobbing like a bitch. Because he was so happy.